Hey, what's going on, son? Hey, I'm just, it's interesting. I think the last time I made a video, I was actually out of town for work. I apologize for the noise. I just have my phone. I don't have any of my gear because I'm actually out traveling again. That's what I was going to say. It's funny because I think the last video that I made, I was out on the road for work. I believe I was in San Francisco, and I'm out in the suburbs of Seattle and out in Redmond, Washington. And you know, it's a nice place. You can see I'm just kind of chilling at a little park out here, kind of hanging out. It's super nice, beautiful evening. You can see the weather's a little overcast now, but it was super sunshiny earlier today. But anyway, I just wanted to take a minute and have a quick minute with you and talk to you about something I was thinking about. Again, it's funny that the last video I was in San Francisco. This week I'm in Seattle, and I don't know. You can put two and two together, but at the end of the day, there's just so many different things going on in the world today that factor into our lives, and it made me think of something that happened a long time ago, and I wanted to talk about it because I think that it's relevant. And I apologize for the camera shake again. I'm just kind of holding my phone with my hand, but I was thinking about something that happened when you were younger. If you remember, we had a couple of your, I don't know how detailed I want to get into this, but we had a house full of kids, right? We'll say that, and we had a couple of nephews that, not our nephews, but family members' nephews that were going through some challenging times in their life, and those kids came to stay with us. And if you remember, those kids didn't have anything. I mean, they had nothing other than the clothes that they were wearing. So, it's interesting because right at the same time, if you remember, I was working up at Taylor Andrews, and every year at Taylor Andrews, we closed down from, Thanksgiving all the way through and until after New Year's. And that was typically the time where, I don't know, just depending on the year, I would, take the time off, or, a lot of times I'd just go get, seasonal jobs just to make some extra cash for the holidays for the family. But this particular year, the owner wanted to do some remodeling at one of the locations and asked me if I would be interested in working through the holiday break and helping him do some remodel. Ironically enough, I'm not a handy guy. So that was a good experience for me. Funny enough is I'm looking at doing some tiling in the house, and I learned how to do flooring when I was working over there doing these projects, so it was kind of cool. But lessons learned would carry through our lives. But either way, so I just remember when I was working on that project, I'd gone over to Home Depot. We'd bought some some materials that we were going to work on, sheetrock actually, and we'd thrown them in the pickup truck. We were pulling out of Home Depot, and as we pulled out of Home Depot, we pulled up to the red light, and there was a stopping at the red light, just kind of sitting there. And then when the owner pushed the gas, all the sheetrock, it fell out into the road. And so we jumped out and started throwing 12-foot sheets of sheetrock back in the truck. And just funny enough, a big truck, I'll kind of hold on for this truck to drive by, but anyway, funny enough, as we're throwing the sheetrock in this SUV, an old beat up SUV, circles back around. Two guys jump out and they start helping us throw the sheetrock in the truck. And they're like, "Hey, do you guys need some help throwing some drywall? Because, that's actually what we do for a living, but we're out of work. We need some money." And so the boss was like, "Yeah, sure. Come on, meet us over here. Follow us over." So these guys follow us over. These guys clearly had a substance abuse problem. And the first thing one of the guys said was, "Hey, do you have a drywall gun?" And we did not. We were just using a regular screw gun. And the guy says, "Well, I could work way faster if I had all my tools, but I've pawned all my tools. So, if you wanted to front me some money, I can run over to the pawn shop and get all my tools. And man, we'll bang this project out in a day or two, no problem." So the boss gives him some money. The guy supposedly runs to the pawn shop, never comes back. Well, we're there for days and days. A few days later, guess who shows up? Same two guys. Hey, sorry, man, we had some problems. We weren't able to get the tools, blah, 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 but we're good to go, but we still don't have the tools. We had something to come up. We needed to use the money. If you could front us that cash and go get those tools, we could do this, and we'll get this banged out. So the boss gives them the same money again to go get the tools out of the pawn shop. And guess who doesn't come back? So they don't come that night, but they come the next night, and they do show up, and he's got a drywall gun. It couldn't have been anything near what he gave him to pay for it, but guy's got his drywall gun, comes, and we start works for a couple hours, and then the guy has to leave. Comes back, works for a couple hours, and then he's like nodding off while he's working, and then he's got to leave. This whole thing went on for quite a while. It was really an interesting deal, but I was pissed off, man. I got to tell you, watching the boss give these guys all this money, clearly they were using it for drugs. Clearly. And I was so mad because, this time we had 5 kids at home, 3 of them not ours, and these kids had nothing. And I told the boss, I'm like, look, I think he asked me, hey, are you upset about something? Yeah, man, I got to talk to you. I'm upset. I'm pissed off. Here I am working through the holidays when everybody else in the company's off. I'm working. I was a salaried employee. I'm like, I'm here. I'm working. I'm helping you out. We're going to do what it takes to make this business work because that's how I roll. But, I'm struggling to take care of all these kids. And, you're giving this money away to these drug addicts, man. And he just sat down and he's like, look, Mike, let's talk. I mean, I know you're upset. Let's talk about this. And so we sat down and he's like, look, it's not like it was a father-son thing. I mean, this guy was the same age as me, But he's like, look, let's sit down, man. I just want to talk to you. He goes, I got to tell you something. Something my grandfather taught me when I was, much younger was this. He was a very religious guy anyway. But, he's like, look, here's the thing, man. You got to do what's right, and you let God sort out the rest. And he said, I tried to live my life that way, And the guy clearly needed money. Not for drugs, but he needed money for other things, right? He needed money for food. He needed money for clothes. He needed money for somewhere to stay that night. He said, if I gave him that money for food and he chose to go and, use it on something he shouldn't have, I'd like to think that I didn't enable the guy. But I'm trying to help him. I'm trying to do what's right. And, if he chooses to make a different choice with those tools that I gave him to do something, that's an option that he did. But I don't have time to go to the store and buy him food and buy him clothes and give him those things that he needs. He said he was willing to work. He wanted to work. I would give him the money to work. I give him 3 opportunities. And, he made the wrong choice, but I feel like I made the right choice. So if you're upset because, you have a family at home that you're trying to provide for, you just got to communicate that with me. And I told him, I'm like, look, man, I got these kids, they got nothing. They have nothing, and I'm trying to provide for them, and you're giving all this extra money away to these crackheads so they can go buy drugs. A week later, he bought those kids bunk beds, blankets, pillows, everything. And, I don't feel like it was a pity party because I feel like I worked for it. But he made a good point. If I needed help, he didn't know. It's not like I'd talked to him. It's not like I'd been begging for money from him or whatever, But he wasn't aware. He wasn't aware of the situation that we were in and that, we could have used that financial help. And he helped. And that was it. He did what was right. I did what was right. I worked, did the job that he needed, helped him out, kept the business rolling. And he did his part. And he helped us with those kids and getting those kids the things that they need. And he gave the money to the crackheads, They probably used it for drugs, but he was trying to do the right thing. And at the end of the day, son, that's the most important thing. And that's the message that I wanted to convey. And, give credit where credit's due. It's funny because, when I called you yesterday, I was pretty upset about some things that had transpired during the day at my work. And, Yeah, I'll just leave it at that, right? I was upset about some things, and you'd said something, and again, I don't want to get too much into it, but it just kind of hit home, right? I mean, you treat people right. At the end of the day, the moral of the story. Now, it went from boss to employee to son to father. You know what I mean? And that's how I know that I feel like I did a pretty good job parenting you, son, because when I can have a bad day and I can give you a call and you can give reasonable, logical advice to me, like, hey, Dad, you know what I mean? You can't hold everybody accountable for those of the few. You assume that people are good and you give them the benefit of the doubt. You treat people the way that they want to be treated and the way that you want to be treated. And you know what? You're spot on with that. And I went back to work today with a different attitude. And, I'm glad and I appreciate that. And those are words of wisdom that should go a long way for everybody right now, right? Right now, we need to treat people the way that we want to be treated. We love everybody and we treat everybody the way that we think is right. We help them the way that we think that we can. We cherish everybody. We love our relationships. And that's all that we can do, I think. Again, I don't know, I'm sure right now somebody could probably say that I'm wrong. But, I'm just saying, man, relationships are important. People are important. We treat people with respect and dignity. And that's the way that we have to live our lives. So, with that being said, I'm going to go out here and enjoy the rest of this park, go for a nice walk, enjoy my evening. And I'm flying home tomorrow, and I am happy to get home and see the wife and kids. So, I love you, boy. I hope everything's going hunky frickin' dory in your world. And I will see you soon. Take care, buddy. Bye. Hey, dude. Just one more quick thing. I just used the public restroom in the park here. I think I told you before I was in Redmond, Washington. And, which Facebook's here, Microsoft's here, all kinds of the big tech gurus. And it's really kind of a hoity-toity little town. I just used the public restroom in the park here right in the middle of town. Dude, you should see the park restroom compared to, right behind my house is a park. I walk the dogs over there. I'll hit the head over there all the time. And it is nothing like the butt palace we got right here, man. Woo! I cannot believe it. You would never guess we were in the middle of a financial crisis. That is hoity-toity. Just thought I'd share that with you. All right, son. Peace out, son. And I love you, boy. Have a good night.